Okay, good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to start analyzing the British writer William Blake in the 19th century, and we have to connect him with the school of Romanticism because if you remember in the introduction, we talked about Romanticism and how Romanticism is connected to literature in the 19th century. And William Blake is considered one of the pioneers and one of the first, writers to talk about the concept of romanticism. So we're going to talk about this today, and also we will read his poem Tyger, and we will analyze it in detail. So hopefully you will find it very interesting analysis. By the way, there's an analysis for the poem, as well as there's a video by the end of the analysis that you could watch about Tyger. And I would like to, let you listen to the way Tyger is read. I think it is very interesting to listen to the way it is read. So I'm gonna do it now and see how it is read, and then we will begin analyzing the poem. Okay, just give me a second because we're waiting for it to open. I'll make share screen now. It's very interesting, read for the poem. I like it, to be honest. Here you go. Okay. Oh, no, that's the analysis. No, I don't want this.
So I'm going to read through The Tyger by William Blake. This is in preparation for the...
Not this one. Okay, I'll try to search for it. The Tyger by William Blake. Okay, just bear with me a second. Yeah, here you go. This is the poem, and I like the way it is read with the music. It's so beautiful. So, what is going on? It's gonna start. Just wait a second.
What immortal hand?
Okay, here you go.
Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps of skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what heart could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer? What the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what a dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
Okay, I think this is enough. That's the poem. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go to the discussion. Um, to the discussion of the author here. So we will start reading about William Blake, and then we will discuss his poem. Okay, so William Blake is a British artist and writer, He was born in 1757 in London and died in 1827. Okay, English engraver, artist, poet, visionary, author of exquisite lyrics in the Song of Innocence and Song of Experience, and profound and difficult prophecies such as the vision of the daughters of the owl and the first book of Erzin, Milton, and Jerusalem. These are these are some of the things that he published, or the work that he was famous for. William Blake, or the dating of Blake's text is explained in the researcher's note. Blake publication dates. These works he etched, printed, colored, stitched, and sold with the assistance of his devoted wife, Catherine. Among his both best lyrics today are The Lamb, Tyger, and London, and the Jerusalem lyrics from Milton, which has become a kind of a second national anthem in Britain. In the early 21st century, Blake was regarded as the earliest and most original of the Romantic poets, but in his lifetime, he was generally neglected or unjustly dismissed as mad. So the last two lines are very interesting here, simply because they talk about how Blake, during his time, wasn't that recognized writer. They dismissed him or neglect him as a mad person. But nowadays we read him as a romantic poet because most of his themes deal with romanticism. And by the way, when I say romanticism, as I explained before, romanticism has to do with nature, with individualism, with sensibility, with emotions, and all these characteristics of romanticism, and mostly nature. Nature is the most important thing in the Romantic period. Okay, let me continue reading. Blake was born over his father's modesty hosiery shop at 28 Broad Street, Golden Square, London. His parents were James Blake and Catherine Wright Armitage Blake. His father came from an obscure family in Rothen, across the river Thames, or Thames, whatever, from London. And his mother was from equally obscure human stock in the straggling little village of Walkengram in Nottinghamshire. His mother had first married a haberdasher named Thomas Armitage in 1748. They moved to 28 Broad Street. In 1750, the couple joined the newly established Moravian Church in Fetter Lane, London. The Moravian religious movement, recently imported from Germany, had a strong attraction to the powerful emotions associated with the nascent Methodism. Catherine Armitage bore a son named Thomas, who died as a baby in 1751, and a few months later, Thomas Armitage himself died. So this is just an introduction about, the Blake's dad and mom. I don't think this is very important for you to know, to memorize or to take into account in the test, but you have to also, know about the family of this poet, of this great poet. Okay, let me continue. Catherine left the Moravian who insisted on marriages within the faith, and in 1751 married James Blake in the Church of England chapel of St. George in Hanover Square. James moved in with her, and they had 6 children. James, who took over the family haberdashery's business on his father's death in 1784. John, 1755, died in childhood. William, the poet and artist. So that's the William Blake, the one that we are going to discuss. Another John Blake, born in 1760, died by 1800, whom Blake referred to in the letter of 1802 as my brother John the Evil One, and who became an unsuccessful gingerbread baker, enlisted as a soldier and died. Richard, called Robert, promising artist and the poet's favorite at the time's alter ego, and Catherine Elizabeth, the baby of the family, who never married and who died in extreme indigence long after the death of all her brothers. So these are the brothers or the siblings of William Blake. Just an introduction to the poet himself. William Blake grew up in modest circumstances. What teaching he received as a child was at his mother's knee, as most children did. This he saw as a positive matter, later writing, and he said, and I quote, "Thank God I never was sent to school to be flogged into the following the style of a fool." So simply, most of his teachings, were received by or from his mother, okay? And this is his image. Okay. Now, some of the notable works that you need to know about William Blake is that he published the first collection, Songs of Innocence, and then his poem, The Tyger, which we will discuss today. And then he published a poem called Milton. And then he published a collection of songs which are called Songs of Experience. And this is a response to his Songs of Innocence. And then Visions of the Daughters of Ali Bone, and also Auguries of Innocence. Now here, these poems, I mentioned these poems, a collection of poems here because they are the most notable works. There are other works, but I don't want to mention all his works. Okay, now this section will talk about Blake's religion. I think this is very important because religion is important in Blake's, poetry. If you understand his religious upbringing, then you will understand, or you may find some clues to understand his poetry. Okay, I'll read. Blake was Christian, married, and buried by the rites of the Church of England, but his creed was likely to outrage the Orthodox. In a vision of the Last Judgment, he wrote that the creator of this world is a very cruel being, whom Blake called viciously nobody daddy and Urizen. And in his emblem book for the sexes, The Gates of Paradise, he addressed Satan as the accuser, who is the god of this world. To Robinson, he warmly declared that all he knew is in the Bible, but he understands the Bible in its spiritual sense. Blake's religious singularity is demonstrated in his poem, The Evil Gospel, and we will read what is his religious, leanings. But here, as you can see, that Blake is a religious person, but sometimes he seems to be outraged, and he seems to be criticizing the Orthodox or the traditional church, So he has his own vision of religion, and we will see how this vision, is embodied and represented in his poetry. Now look at the poem here, The Everlasting Gospel, 1818. The speaker, says, "The vision of Christ that thou dost see is my vision's greatest enemy. Both read the Bible day and night, but thou readest black what I read white." I think here the idea, or in these lines, emphasize how we look at the Bible and how we read the Bible, and also what kind of visions that you see of Christ. Now Blake contrasts his vision of the Christ with other people and say that your vision, you people, what you see, the vision of the Christ is totally different from my vision. And I don't know if he means that his vision is poetry or not, but I think it's poetry. That's what he refers to. And also he mentioned in the second two lines that these people read the Bible, but their reading is black, while his reading is white. So I don't know if he means that he understands the Bible well, or he has another vision, which is a white vision. You know, it means like it is a positive vision. Okay. But some of the Orthodox not only tolerated but also encouraged Blake. Two of his most important patrons, the Reverend Matthew and the Reverend Joseph Thomas, were clergymen of the Church of England. So, and this is very interesting because even though William Blake was a very rebellious person and he criticized the Church of England, there are people who supported him and supported his revolutionary way of addressing Christianity and religion in general. Okay, Blake was a religious seeker, but not a joiner. He was profoundly influenced by some of the ideas of the Swedish theologian Emanuel Swedenborg. In April 1789, he attended the General Conference of the New Church, which had been recently founded by the followers of Swedenborg in London. Blake's poem, The Divine Image for the Song of Innocence, is implicitly Swedenborgian. And he said that he based his design called the Spiritual Preceptors on the theologian book, The True Christian Religion. He soon decided, however, that the Swedenborg was a spiritual pedestrian, as he wrote in his copy of Swedenborg's Wisdom of the Angels concerning the divine providence, and that the new church was a subject to priestcraft as the Church of England. So in the last paragraph here, we see how Blake was very interested in religion, in religious movements, and he adhered or joined the Swedish theologian Emanuel Swedenborg and his teachings in Christianity. So please, make sure that you read these information and try to understand them very carefully, and there will be some questions in the mid and the final exams. Okay, now here's the poem that we are supposed to read. Okay, I will read each stanza and try to analyze it in detail. Now, the first thing that we have to look at is the title. The title, the Tyger. You see that like the spelling of this word is different from our modern spelling. Tiger is the animal that we all are afraid of. You cannot face the tiger. It's very fearful and ferocious, and you may get killed by a tiger. So tiger. So the poet William Blake, choose this animal to contrast this animal with another animal, which is the lamb. So here there is a poem. There is a poem called The Lamb, okay, which is written also by William Blake. So William Blake wrote first the poem The Lamb, okay, and then he contrasts this poem with the tiger. Now, the lamb, again, both metaphors are related to religion, because the lamb here represents Jesus Christ, and it represents innocence, it represents purity, etc. But tiger represents, fear, represents danger, represents death sometimes. Okay, so let's read the poem stanza by stanza and explain it in detail. Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? So here in this stanza, the speaker is saying that this animal, tiger, is burning bright in the forest of the night, meaning that if you look at the forest, even in the night, you can see the tiger because he's burning bright. You can see how strong the color of that animal, that you can see even in the forest of the night, because in the night you cannot see anything, but you can see that tiger because of the strong color and the burning bright that this animal has. And then the speaker asked a question: what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? So here is the poet talking about God here, or the creator of Tyger in general, who created this fearful symmetry or this fearful animal. So most likely he's referring to God, because he's saying here immortal hand or eye. The second stanza, in what distance deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? Okay, again, he continues, asking some questions here about how this, okay, the creation of this tiger, how now he's describing, the tiger here, uh, by saying, burn the fire of thine eyes, on what wings dare he aspire, and what hands dare seize the fire. So again, connecting, tiger with the metaphor of the fire is very important here, because the fire here has many references. One of them is fear, death, significance. I mean, there are many references to the meaning of the fire, and this fire is associated with this animal tiger. Okay, the next stanza. And what shoulder and what art could twist thy sinew of thy heart, and when the heart began to beat, what dread hands and what dread feet. Again, here is a continuation of the description of the tiger in a question form. So he's asking questions about the creation of this tiger, how this tiger is created, how his heart is created, and how his hands and feet also. And the whole body of the tiger is very fearful and dread, as here mentioned in the poem. Also, we see like some of the adjectives that we can find here are related to fear, and how scary this animal is. And then the speaker moves to the metaphor of the blacksmith. Okay, blacksmith. Now, the blacksmith here, and he asked the question, what hammer, what the chain, in what furence was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp, dare its deadly terror glass? So here again, we have a reference to the to the blacksmith, and how this blacksmith creates this tiger. And again, the blacksmith here refers to the creator of the tiger, and most likely the blacksmith is God. Okay, so he refers to God as the blacksmith, the person who creates this fearful creature and fearful animal. And look, I think again, as I said, there are many words that have to do with fear, death, etc. The next stanza. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? And now these last two lines are very important, because now who's he here? I think here he refers to God, the creator of the tiger. Okay, and then do you remember I mentioned before at the beginning of the poem that there is another poem called The Lamb? So we should contrast and compare these two poems together. Now the speaker here asks, who did he who made the lamb make thee? So he's asking here, is the same creator who built and created the lamb, the innocent, the beautiful, the pure animal, is the same creator who made this fearful, strong, dangerous animal? So this is the kind of question that the speaker is asking here, about who created the tiger. Is it the same creator who created the lamb? I would, by the way, recommend that you go to the poem The Lamb and try to see what's going on there. Now the last four lines here, tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? So this is in general the analysis of the poem, which is simply talking about the creator of this fearful animal, how God created the tiger. Now, here I provide you with analysis that you can read by yourself, and it will help you understand the poem carefully, and will help you, throughout the analysis. Now, what I want you to do, guys, is that you have to watch the whole video, and you have to see it on YouTube and comment on the poem. Anything that you want to comment or any suggestion that you have on the poem, please mention it on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next class. Bye.